Right. And for those of you who are newer to this community, you'll see a couple of amazing humans here, both, well, including yourself, Tanya and Kaylee. So Tanya is going to be my co-presenter today. Tanya is a master practitioner of NLP, mental emotional release, and hypnosis. And she's going to be presenting with me today over a few sections. She will be leading, her voice will be leading the meditations and hypnosis sessions today as well. Kaylee, I've known Kaylee for, I think it's been 5 years now. Started as a client, then became an assistant coach, then became a head coach, and then became an operations manager in one of our companies. And Kaylee is an amazing human being, and she will be assisting us here today as well. So if you see their names popping up, answering questions, or helping you throughout today's session, that is why they are on our team. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and get this party started. So you are here for the Rewire Your Mind workshop. It's a one-day experience to unlock your potential. And I'm looking forward to it because it's a Saturday, right? 10 a.m. Eastern time. You're all here right now, which means you are ready for change. You're ready for transformation. Okay. You are ready to rewire your mind. So session number one, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about what's really holding you back. Okay. The secret block that might be sabotaging your success. Success in what? It depends, right? What area of your life are you looking for more success in? Is it your career? Is it business? Is it in your relationships? Is it in your spirituality? Maybe it's your family life. Maybe it's your health and fitness, right? Today, I'm going to assume many of you would like to improve your career, would like to make more money in your business. And so you'll see many sessions during today's training that will revolve around that topic. However, the content, the information that we're going to share with you today is going to assist you and help you in all areas of your life. Cool? If that's cool with you, put cool in the chat. All right. So the goal for this session here is that by the end of today, you're going to understand why you're feeling stuck, why you might be feeling overwhelmed, and maybe unable to move forward in your life or business, and why it's actually not the actual problem, and where we need to focus our efforts instead. Okay? Because for transformation, we need to have a self-awareness of what the actual problem is. Is anyone here a gardener? Like, does anyone plant things? Let me know in the chat if you are. I am definitely not. I'll say this as well, and Marissa would confirm this. Marissa is definitely not. We have miraculously grown a pineapple. Well, I say we, it was Marissa. Marissa miraculously grew a pineapple that we actually ate. It was amazing and delicious, right? And so anyway, I think for, I can speak for most of us, or at least I'll speak for myself. I'm better at growing weeds, right? The weeds that like take over your garden, right? And so the challenge is that out there, the mainstream like self-help space and mindset space is there's a lot of good stuff out there. However, it's very superficial, right? And so the challenges that you're likely experiencing in your life right now that are keeping you stuck is actually a result of your mind being overrun with weeds, right? And most of the self-help motivational stuff that's out there now is the equivalent of you taking your kid's scissors, going out to the garden of your mind and cutting the weeds where the stem meets the soil. What happens? They grow back, right? And they grow back stronger. And so while it, what we want to do instead is we want to go ahead and grab the weeds. And what do we want to do with them? We want to pull them out the root, right? We want to get rid of the root, because when we get rid of the root, what happens? They don't grow back, right? When we cut them with scissors, it grows back. The problem will be back. And so today, we're going to show you how do we actually pull the weed out from the root so that it's gone and it does not come back, so you can finally move forward in your life. Does that sound good? Cool. So today's session, number one, welcome everyone. Excited to have you here. We're going to talk about finding the root of the patterns that don't serve us and begin to discover how we're going to pull these patterns, these problems out from the root so they don't come back. The third thing is we're going to dive into the number one reason why we're stuck We're going to discuss the truth about traditional methods that you may or may not have tried in the past and why they may have not worked. We're going to dive into how to create rapid alignment and lasting transformation. And then we're going to do an activity. Okay. So today, we're going to have sessions where we're going to break out into breakout rooms. We're going to give you some very easy answers that you already know the answers to. Very easy questions that you already know the answers to. And we're going to share and discuss. Okay. So there is going to be breakout rooms where we're going to go into rooms with other people. Okay. And if you're like, oh my God, other people, today's training is to help you rewire your mind. And part of rewiring your mind means doing things that you haven't done before or that you're uncomfortable doing so you can grow. Right. And so part of this growth is actually interacting with others. Okay. And so we're going to have activities where you interact with others and share your learning, share your lessons. All right. So be prepared for that. Get excited for it. Okay. Because you might meet someone here today that can have an opportunity that you've been waiting for. Okay. And you won't get that opportunity unless you're there, you show up, and you're ready. Okay. So before we dive in, I'd like to ask you, what are your expectations for yourself? What are you expecting from yourself today for the next 5 to 6 hours? Let me know in the chat. Contemplate that for a second and let me know in the chat. What are your expectations for yourself today? How do you want to show up? You want to set your intention, set your focus, right? Ask yourself, why are you here? Why are you here today? What do you want to achieve? And how will you know when you have it? Focus, learn something, learn how to grow and be better. I love it. Dive in deep for anything that's holding me back. More focus. Excellent. To find ways to get unstuck. Thanks, Michelle. To learn and grow so I can be a better version of myself. I love that, Catherine. Absolutely. That's what we're here to do. Okay. Let's see. Growing resilience to self with open mind to discover an unknown block that restricts my potential. Thank you, Jay. To continue my mindset growth and get over my inner critic. Find focus in what's holding me back. To recalibrate. Oh, I love that. Katie, continue to grow. Excellent. Excellent. How will you know when you have that? When you've decided, hey, this is what I'm going after, this is my intention, this is my focus, how will you know when you have that? What are you going to get out of it? What are you going to see? How are you going to feel? What are you going to sound like? What is it going to sound like? How will you know? And I'd like for you to make it so big that when you get it, this would be the most important training that you've ever taken. How will you know? Let me know in the chat. First thing that comes to mind. I will do things I'm currently afraid to do. That's a good one. It will feel easy. I'll know what my next steps are. Feel confident and clear. I'll be able to grow my business. When tasks get easier and consistent. Tangible, consistent, repeatable results. No more imposter syndrome. Clarity and focus. Beautiful answers. Productivity. Start working on my goals. Feel confident in myself. I love it. Thanks for sharing. Now, what are your expectations from us to get the most out of this? How can we support you in that today? What are your expectations from us? We're, at this point, we're not big on the fluff. Spent and invested really tens of thousands, really hundreds of thousands of dollars on trainings and courses and programs. So we're not going to be all fluffy here today. Okay. We're going to give you the good stuff. You guys want the good stuff, put the good stuff in the chat. Give me the good stuff. All right. I'll be a confident person who makes decisions with clarity and is willing to take any risk I need to take. So what are your expectations from us today? Good stuff. Bring it on. All right, cool. I love it. So here are some, I know you're going to bring it. You always do. Thank you, Katie. Appreciate that. So here are some suggestions for excellence. Okay. Number one is to participate fully. Participate fully. You blocked off this time today to be here. So be here. And the more, you've all heard this before, right? The more you put in, the more what? Fill in the blank, the more you get out, right? So if you want to get the most out of today, be here, participate fully. Number two, have fun. Have fun, right? How can we, with everything that you do in your life, right? Always ask yourself this question. How could I complete this task, do this activity, and have fun doing it, right? Have fun doing it. Number three, trust the process. Number four, very important, keep an open mind, right? Keep an open mind because we're talking about rewiring your mind. And in order to do that and do it successfully, you have to be open to it. Number five, leave prior knowledge at the door. We all have specific skills and knowledge that we have. All of you know something that I don't know, right? Especially for you gardeners out there. I don't know it, right? And then the person next to you knows something that you don't know, right? We all know something that we don't know. And for today, right, I'll be sharing with you, and so will Tanya, some knowledge, okay, that may be a little bit different from what you've heard before. And that's okay. That's okay. You'll want to be flexible, be here while you're here, and do your best. Can we all agree to these suggestions for excellence? Put a yes in the chat if you do. Okay. So the question then becomes, right, where are you now? Maybe you feel stuck, overwhelmed, and unsure of your next steps. Right. Once you hear one of these that resonates with you, maybe all of them, maybe just one, maybe none. Once you hear at least one that resonates with you, put a one in the chat. Okay. So you feel stuck, overwhelmed, and unsure of your next steps. Perhaps you've tried every tactic, every course, and every strategy, but nothing really seems to work. It's possible you're dealing with self-doubt and fear of failure that keeps you hesitating instead of taking action. You're constantly busy, but not seeing the results you want. Your goals feel further away and frustration is building. Chaos in one area of your life might be spilling into others, leaving you drained and unmotivated. And you know there's something deeper holding you back, but you're not sure how to fix it. Now, I want to ask you this, and I know you all agreed, right, to being present, to being fully here. I know some of you are at work, and I appreciate you being at work and also being here. So thank you for that. Right. If you're at work right now and you're also bettering your life at the same time, good for you. So if you have a reason like that, okay, it's okay. Right. I forgive you. And so for everyone else, right, I'm going to ask you to put some stuff in the chat. And some of you might roll your eyes, right? For some of you, I might see it. For some of you, I might not, especially if you have your camera off. Okay. And so the reason I want you to put these things in the chat is because studying neuroscience deeply, we know that if you're passive listeners, you'll remember less than 30% of what we shared this week. And ultimately, or shared today, right? And ultimately, if you only remember less than 30% of what we shared today, was this really worth your time, right? No. So it's very easy to get distracted by kids, notifications, the nice weather outside. I think for most of us, it's kind of cold outside. So I think this is like the perfect day to be inside. I also heard that today the planets are aligning or something like that. Or maybe it was last week. Something about the planets aligning. So I feel like today's the perfect day to be here. So here's the thing, okay? It's easy to not value. So the question for you is, how would you show up if you had paid $10,000 to be here? Okay? Because it's easy to not value it, right? But your future, your new pattern is worth it, right? The pattern that's going to replace the challenges, the problems that you've had that are keeping you stuck. So I want you to think about like the number one problem, right? The number one pattern that you feel you have right now. Think about that for a second. And I want to ask you, how much has that problem, how much has that pattern cost you in 2024, just in 2024? And put a specific number, a specific amount, whether that problem or pattern has been procrastination, whether it's been self-sabotage, whether that problem or pattern has been perfectionism, overwhelm, overthinking, people pleasing, avoidance, indecisiveness. How much has that problem cost you in 2024? 30,000, likely thousands, 40K and probably more. Okay. Right? Thousands and thousands. Put a specific number on there, right? There's a reason for this, because the reality is that even though today's training is free, you guys did not pay anything to be here today, right? The reality is that whatever number you put down there, whatever number's in your head, that's really what you pay to be here. That's really what you pay to be here. Okay. So how do we make the most out of it? Right? That's the question. Now, as we look at, right, where we're at, the next step is figuring out where do we want to be, right? Where do we want to be? Again, as soon as you find one that resonates with one that resonates with you here, put a 2 in the chat this time. Okay. So wake up each day with clarity, confidence, and excitement for your goals. How many of you would like that? What if you could finally break free from fear, self-doubt, and limiting beliefs? Achieve balance and alignment across your career, your relationships, and your health. Experience consistent progress and results in your business and life. Feel in control of your future, knowing that you have the tools to succeed. Have more time, more energy, and freedom to focus on what matters most. Create a life that reflects your full potential and your purpose. Right? Now, those may have resonated with you, and I want you to take a moment for yourself here. And if you will, close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath in and out, and imagine what is on the other side of that problem, that challenge, that obstacle that you have. And say you show up today, you play full out today, and you make the change that you need to. What's waiting for you in February? What's waiting for you the rest of 2025 when you no longer procrastinate, when you no longer overthink, when you no longer self-sabotage? Maybe it's a certain amount of money, income, business growth. Maybe it's a certain lifestyle you want. Maybe it's more travel, a specific vacation. What's on the other side of this? What is waiting for you on the other side of this? Think about that. Take a deep breath. Really experience that, really feel that. You can go ahead and open your eyes now. The question then is, how do we get there? How do we get there? And so today we're going to show you, we're going to show you the map to get there. And the cool thing is you already know. The answers are already inside of you. We're just going to show you how to unlock those answers so you know exactly what you need to do moving forward. Okay. So very briefly, for those of you who don't know me or Tanya, we're going to be your guides for today. All right. We're going to take you through this experience, and it's going to be a lovely one. So really briefly, a little bit about me. So my name is Javier. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I am the co-founder of the Practice Revolution. And we've started this new venture called Mind Haven, where we're teaching the concepts that we're about to share with you today, and helping people break through any mental blocks or things that are holding them back in not years, hours, like less than a day. Okay. Very powerful tools we'll be sharing with you. So this is me. All right. I shared this picture recently. This was me in high school, actually. Yes, that is real hair. Okay. They used to call me curly fries. Yes, that was me. And so that was me. And at the time, I remember there's no picture. Oh no, the picture's not showing up. Oh no, that's sad. Okay. Well, you'll have to go to my Instagram or my Facebook profile and see the picture. It's showing up on my screen here, but that's weird that you're not seeing it. So anyway, picture me, hair. Yes, all the good things. And really, I remember early on, especially going through sixth grade and high school, I was dealing with a lot of stuff internally. I didn't necessarily show it. I was always smiling on the outside, but there was a lot of pain that I was holding on to from a very young age, for many different reasons, right? Anger, fear, sadness, and I assigned it to my parents getting divorced, going to a school where I knew no one, getting bullied early on in my life. And I never really felt good enough, right? Never really felt good enough. So I did everything in my power to really build that resilience and strength, and to really go through life trying to do my best, right? I got great grades. I went to school, had my head in the books. Literally, especially in college and undergrad and graduate school, I would spend like 10 to 12 hours a day in the library studying my butt off to try and get the best grades possible. right? And so I ended up going down the career path of becoming a doctor in physical therapy. Initially, I wanted to go to med school. I had the grades for it. I just shadowed a few physicians and I was like, I don't know about this, right? I had a few experiences that I did not align with, and it led me down a different path. And so, going through physical therapy school, I did my thing. And I really focused on the physical, right? I was really heavily focused on the physical and how we could make, how we could heal our body, right, with movement, which is a really amazing thing. So I was really focused on being successful and proving to myself that I was worthy, right? That I was good enough to build some really cool things. And so I ended up partnering with one of my first mentors to open up a physical therapy practice. Had a team, really built the facility really quickly. We got to about $25,000 per month within less than 8 months, and it was me, on the streets, knocking on doors. And really building connections, right? And so with all of that, and even more recently, this picture you can see here, we started hosting events in person, right? We started hosting 30 people events, 60, 70 people events, speaking at other events. And with all that success that we had, we were interviewed on ABC Action News, and this is just a couple of years ago, right? Even with all these successes that we had, I still felt like something was missing. I still felt whether it was incongruent. I felt like I didn't know what my purpose was. I felt like there was a lot of baggage that I was holding on to that was keeping me a bit cloudy and wasn't really allowing me to live into my full potential, right? And it wasn't until very recent that I discovered what we're about to show you today. And after I had a breakthrough session, okay, with none other than Tanya here, which is the reason why she's here today, and we're doing this together, everything changed for me. A new level of clarity, a new level of confidence, a new level of congruency that I have never, ever felt before. And by the way, right, I, came from very little, worked my butt off, right, to be able to build the things that I did, successful, right? And I still didn't feel aligned. I felt like something was missing. How many of you in your life right now feel like something is missing? Right? Like you're like, there's something inside of you where you have more to give, right? You know that there's more that you can utilize, this potential inside of you, and you feel like you don't know how to access it, right? You feel like you have these mental blocks, or life gets foggy sometimes, the path is unclear, right? That's how I felt. And I felt like that for years. I actually went to, and not a knock on this, right? I think these tools are very valuable at different stages. I did talk therapy, right? For years, 2.5 years of talk therapy. And while I felt great in the moment, I still didn't have the answers that I was looking for. Okay. So what I'm going to share with you today is how I was able to get past that, the things that I learned so that you can overcome those challenges and have clarity in your life as well. Okay. So Tanya, if you would like to share a little bit about your story.
Yeah, it looks like my pictures are showing up. So yay. Sorry,
Perfect.
Molly, we don't get to see your hair on here.
It's all right.
It's awesome. I, like many of you, had really big dreams of who I wanted to become. And I had a lot of things in my childhood that I shoved down and didn't deal with and address, and definitely did a lot of therapy, went through addictions, and I felt like everything felt really difficult in my life. So it was hard to get to the next step. And I had this belief inside that I wasn't good enough, and it carried through into all aspects of my life. And it was only when I started working with the unconscious mind that everything started to shift and become easier. It was like I started leveling up in my personal and professional life. I went through a recovery coach training and was able to help people with addictions. And then I was able to move into a counselor role, helping people with substance use disorder. And I was like, yes, I'm going on this path. And then COVID happened and it shifted everything. Then I had to work from home. Things shifted a little bit in my work world. And I didn't feel like I could actually give the things that I wanted to give to the people that I wanted to give it to. So I moved up into the corporate world thinking, I'm going to climb the ladder. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I climbed the ladder and realized this doesn't feel right. Like I'm meant to be doing more. I'm meant to be giving more. I'm meant to be offering more. I'm meant to be providing value and helping people change their lives. And that's when I went through the training that I did for NLP and mental and emotional release and hypnosis. And it completely shifted everything. All of a sudden, the things that were unclear to me and were holding me back, it was like crystal clear what I needed to do and what the next steps were. There was no more second guessing. I just felt in complete alignment with the next steps, with my goals, and it just completely changed my life. So I'm also excited that you guys are all here, so you get to see kind of what this process looks like.
Amazing. Thanks, Tanya. Beautiful. So what we'll be showing you today has profoundly changed our lives, and it has also changed and transformed thousands of others that have used these tools as well, that we've personally met. And so I want to share with you a story from Rudy here and what he has to say. I think I'll need to make sure to share the sound here so you can actually hear. So just give me a second. There we go. We really want to show you, like, obviously I've gone through this experience. Tanya has. We're not the only ones. We actually have several people in this community now inside of this event that have also had the experience. And if you want to write a little bit about your experience in the chat now, you're more than welcome to. Here's what Rudy says about the things that we're going to be sharing with you today. Okay.
Just not feeling confident in my own ability, not feeling confident in my own self, not feeling truly confident in my own skin. Kind of a feeling of like, I'm gonna get thrown off the island at any time, right? Like everybody's gonna find me out and then I'm out because they're gonna know. During the breakthrough session, I had a lot of insights. Around the root causes of like those things holding me back, the issues of confidence, and especially with each emotion that was released, it was like, a sense of like, that's where the root is. That's where it's coming from. There's definitely a physical release for me at the moment that the emotion released. Definite, it's gone. And it was just in a moment, like it would reduce, and then there's a moment where it's gone, completely gone. I'm completely different now than before the breakthrough session. What it's given me is not just the belief, like not just in my head, I felt what it is to not have that thing hanging around my neck. This breakthrough session has impacted all areas of my life. Not just career, obviously career, because there's a focus there and I'm able to move forward on the goals that I have without that resistance, that drag, it's not climbing Mount Everest. One step is one step. It's not Mount Everest. And that's the big difference. So there's that confidence that's just held and it's felt inside. And I didn't have that before. Like the confidence inside of knowing, that I can handle things, that I can find a way through them. So the real question for you, if you're considering a breakthrough session, is simply, what is it that you're not doing in your life? Where is it that you're putting effort forth and you're just not getting the return? Where is it that you feel a deep gift inside you and it's like aching to be? If that is where you're at, then absolutely a breakthrough is going to make a huge difference for you. When I first thought about the price of the breakthrough session, I was like, okay, I think I'm going to do this. And so I went ahead and did it. At this point, looking back, I would have done anything when I was younger for this, but in retrospect, the confidence that I have, I'm like, oh yeah, I would take a time machine back. If I could now, I would invest money in a time machine to go back and address it at an earlier age. And I feel like this new sense of openness and possibility and opportunity in my life. We're figuring this out and it's enjoyable. Yeah, so if I summarize my breakthrough session in one sentence, that's what I've been waiting for my whole life. Whoever you are, I wish you the best.
Amazing. Wow. Thank you, Rudy, for sharing that. That sums it up so nicely. And I see a few people that are sharing their experience below. So here's one thing I want to share with you all. because you're all very intelligent people, right? You want more for yourself. And I think that early on in my career, especially going through all the traditional education and training, to become a doctor, we were so heavily focused on the mechanics, right? What do you have to do, right? And the reality is that I've discovered now is that it's not the mechanics, right? You already know the things you need to know, right? It's not the mechanics, it's actually your mind. You don't need more how to, right? You don't need more tactics, you don't need more strategies. And anyone that knows me for a few years now knows I was all about the how to tactic strategies. We give you all the step by step worksheets and the plans and the things and like everything you need to succeed. And yet people were still not doing the things consistently. And then when they had success, they would stop or self-sabotage and say, I don't think this is working. It's like, whoa, you just had your first 10K month. It's absolutely working, right? And so it really got me thinking, like, what is going on here? What's behind the surface? And the reality is that there's something deeper holding you back, right? There was something deeper holding me back. And you might have believed, like I did, that the key to success is more knowledge. But the truth is, it's your mind that is the ultimate driver of results, right? It is your mind. And so here are some of the symptoms that I mentioned earlier that you might be experiencing. You might be experiencing overwhelm, procrastination, self-doubt, perfectionism, imposter syndrome, self-sabotage, people-pleasing, avoidance, indecisiveness, overthinking. These are not the problem, though. These are not the problem. Which one of these symptoms here stands out to you the most? What are some of the ones here that you've experienced more than others? And maybe it's not even on this list. If you don't mind sharing, go ahead and drop those in the chat. Drew says all of the above. Thank you for being honest, Drew. Right? I think we all do, right? We all at some point have felt these. Imposter syndrome, that's a big one. All of them. Overthinking, self-sabotage, overwhelm. Yeah, the first step is awareness, right? Overwhelm, perfectionism, avoidance. Wow, yeah. Avoidance, that's a big one. Perfectionism, procrastination. Okay. So what do I mean by these are not the actual problem? Right? Remember the analogy of pulling things out from the root? Well, what if I told you that the reality is that all of these things that you mentioned, these are what we call presenting problems. These are presenting problems. This is the behavior you have, the habit, or a pattern that's creating these issues. So I want you to think for a moment of your life like this iceberg here. Most people are aware of the presenting problem, right? The ones we just discussed: procrastination, perfectionism, self-sabotage, imposter syndrome, people-pleasing, thinking we need even more strategy or even more accountability. And the reality is that all of that's just the tip of the iceberg. It doesn't take you to the root. And so a lot of the stuff that's out there is trying to help you solve for these things. And you might feel good for a little, but you're not getting to the root. So what's underneath the iceberg that's causing these presenting problems? That's what we want to find out. The first one is thoughts, okay? Negative thought patterns. Now, you have 60,000 thoughts per day, up to 60,000 thoughts per day. And guess what? 75% of those thoughts are negative. Unless you've already done some of this work, 75% of those thoughts are negative. And I'll tell you why that is. Our nervous system, our brain is wired for what? First and foremost, for survival, right? And so our brain naturally, in its attempt to keep us alive, is always looking for what's wrong, what's negative, what's going to kill us, right? And it was very effective back in the day when we had to face, saber-toothed tigers and, lions and bears and all these things trying to eat us and attack us. And now we don't have that, right? Sure, there are other things that we need to be aware of, but not as intense as those. And so hardwired, right, our natural state is to have those negative thoughts to keep us safe. And the crazy thing is 95% of the thoughts are actually repetitive. 95% of those thoughts are repetitive. And I'll share with you why in a second. So if 75% of the thoughts are negative and 95% of those are constantly repeating in your head, what does that do to us? Where does that keep us, right? So that's the first thing that we have to really uncover underneath this iceberg. This begins to cause some of these presenting problems. The second piece is beliefs, belief systems. Okay, I like to call this your BS. All right. Some of you have BS that keeps you stuck. And so these are what we call limiting beliefs, right? 95% of the beliefs you have right now, guess what? They're not even your own. They were programmed in your mind between the ages of 0 and 7 years old. Okay? Unless you've already done some of this work already, 60% or more of these beliefs you have limit you or hold you back in some way. And they're not even yours. I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. These beliefs cause those presenting problems at the surface. Okay? And then next, beneath the surface, okay, we have values and your identity. Values and your identity. Your identity is who we identify as, who we believe ourselves to be. And some of our identities are given to us. Now, some of those we take on, some of those we reject. These can hold us back and cause negative thoughts and can cause negative beliefs. I'll share with you a few examples of these identities in just a moment, okay? And then at the root of all of this, what's causing these presenting problems that you're experiencing is emotional baggage. Emotional baggage keeping you stuck. When you have this emotional baggage, when you have values that are in conflict, when you don't know who you really are, you have belief systems that aren't even yours, and you have negative thoughts that are repeating in your mind constantly, this is what leads to self-sabotage. This is what leads to the symptoms that we experience. I have a question for you. How many of you self-sabotage? How many of you know what you need to do? You have a level of inspiration for it. And then all of a sudden, when you have to go do the thing, you don't, or you don't go all in, right? And you know in the back of your mind, like, it's a reason we come up with these reasons for why we didn't, but we all know what it really is. It's because we're scared, right? So what holds us back? What holds us back? Emotional baggage. What does this look like? It looks like anger, sadness, guilt, fear, anxiety. Session number 3, we're going to dive into emotional baggage, what it really is, and how this actually happens, how this happens in our nervous system and in our brain. Okay? Limiting beliefs and decisions. Session number 2, we're going to talk about limiting beliefs and decisions and how we can start to shift those. Conflicts between our values. If you have a value of making money and you have a value of having freedom, and you believe that if you make more money, you're going to have to work harder and not have freedom, guess what you're not going to do? You're not going to make more money. Does that make sense? You guys getting this? Right? So how do we resolve those conflicts between our own values that are at the deepest core of who we are? False identities and labels. Labels limit, okay? When you label yourself or label someone else, you've automatically put them in a box. So what are the labels that we've given ourselves that have kept us stuck in a box that doesn't even exist? Look to your left, look to your right, no box, right? However, in our mind, when we give ourselves a false identity or label ourselves, we limit ourselves. Incongruencies and misalignment. How many of you have ever said, well, a part of me wants this and a part of me wants that? You guys know what I'm talking about? Right? Let me know, put a 1 in the chat if you said a part of me wants this, a part of me wants that before. That's an incongruency and a misalignment in your mind, right? How do we actually align those two and make you whole again? Right? This is what today's about. Are you guys like, this is pretty cool stuff already, right? We're just getting started. Just a few slides in. Okay. So the unconscious mind, your unconscious mind, is the driver. Your unconscious mind is the driver. The conscious mind, you know how people say, oh, you only use like a certain percentage of your mind? This is actually what it is. Okay. So the conscious mind is 5%. The unconscious mind is the 95%. 95, remember I said this, 95% of your thoughts are repetitive. Why is that? Because it's what's rooted in your unconscious mind that you're not consciously thinking about. And if those are the repetitive thoughts in our mind and everything else that we've done only focuses on the conscious, how will we ever get to the root problem? How will we ever rewire our mind for positivity? Okay. So the other 5% is what you think about consciously. So which part of the mind has the most control? The conscious mind or the unconscious mind? 95%, right? The unconscious mind. So think about it, okay? Think about this for a second. Have you ever set a goal and not hit it? Raise your hands. I'm there with you, right? All of us, okay? Have you ever had a desire to get rid of or create a new habit and you never did? You had a desire, you had an intention to get rid of or create a new habit and you never did. Hands up. Yeah. Same here. Okay. I think all of us. Now, have you ever attempted to hit the same goal or create a new habit more than once? Put a one in the chat if that's been you. Right? I'm there with you. Right? For most of us, it's either the end of the year or the start of a new one. Right? And still nothing. Still you haven't achieved the goal. Still you haven't created that new habit. Why is that? Why is it? Here's why. Okay. Here's why. So knowing now that your unconscious mind is the actual driver here, what happens when you consciously set goals for yourself? You say, hey, this year I'm going to hit this financial goal. And in order to hit this financial goal, I'm going to take action in the direction of my dreams. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to make this post. I'm going to ask for a raise. I'm going to, get this promotion, right? Consciously, we set these goals for ourselves. Maybe it's not even in your career. Maybe it's in your relationship. This goal, I want to be more intentional with my relationship. I want to communicate better with my significant other, right? I want to be more romantic. You set a goal, okay? Consciously. And then what happens? Why don't you hit that goal? Why don't you actually achieve what you set out to do? Well, because on this path to your goal, what happens? Your unconscious mind reverts back to its programming and it takes you a different direction. The actual behavior that you exhibit does not match the goals. Why does this happen? Well, the reason this happens is because your conscious mind is the goal setter. You use your conscious mind to set the goal, set the intention of where you want to go, and you do that consciously. Now, the unconscious mind is actually the goal getter. The unconscious mind is the goal getter. That is why you haven't hit your goals consistently. If your unconscious thoughts, beliefs, and values and your identity don't align with your goals, no tactic or strategy will work, okay? And especially long-term, you may have some short-term successes, but how many of you said you've experienced self-sabotage before? That's what that is. You'll have short-term successes because you're using willpower and discipline and you're pushing through. And all of a sudden, we revert back to our unconscious programming, our unconscious thoughts, beliefs, and values and identity. And so it feels like what it felt like for me for years, like I was pushing a boulder up a mountain. Like I was working so hard, putting in so much effort with incremental tiny gains, right? I felt so much resistance and I didn't know why. And then I figured this out. I'm like, that makes sense. My conscious mind and unconscious mind were not aligned. Okay. And so until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your fate. It'll direct your life actually, and you will call it fate, but it's really your unconscious mind. Okay. So studies show that 80% of success is psychological, right? Your mindset, and only 20% is the mechanics. Okay. I know Tony Robbins says this, right? I'm not sure where it originally came from, right? But it's been proven time and time again. You interview the most successful people, whoever you deem as successful, right? And they'll tell you it's the mindset. You guys remember this quote, right? What you think, you become. Buddha, what you think, you become. Interesting. It's not what you do, you become, or what you have, you become. It's what you think you become. It all starts up here. Okay. So I want to give you a brief reminder here. Okay. Your stuff, you guys know what stuff is? Put stuff in the chat if you know what stuff is. Okay. Your stuff, internal stuff, right? That comes up sometimes, emotional baggage, right? Negative thought patterns, a feeling of like anxiety or fear or pressure. Your stuff might come up during this event. And most people would think, oh, my stuff is coming up. This must not be good for me. I got to go, right? The flight response. The reality is that when your stuff comes up, also when it's come up for you in the past, your unconscious mind is actually bringing it up. And it wouldn't bring it up to your conscious awareness unless it knew you are ready to release it. So if your stuff does come up at any point, if you disagree with something that I say or Tanya says, right? If you feel like these emotions bubbling and you feel like this pressure or fear or something like you're like heaviness, right? That's actually a great sign because your unconscious mind wouldn't bring it up unless you are ready to release it now. Okay. So let's talk about your thoughts, right? Let's start peeling the layers of this iceberg because of course icebergs have layers like onions do. Right? Let's go let's go a few feet deeper, right? Underneath this iceberg. So here are some thoughts that you may have experienced before. Okay. So thinking of past mistakes and failures. These are some ruminating negative thoughts you may have. I used to do this a lot, right? Something would happen and I was like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I did it, right? How stupid was I, right? Why couldn't I see that clear? And then I just ruminate and ruminate and ruminate, right? Keeping me stuck in those thought patterns. Thinking of past disappointments. Man, I wish I knew what I know now then. I tried this, I failed. Any other past disappointments that you've had, right? Your career, business, relationships, thinking of how you always let yourself down. I always let myself down. Always? Really? You showed up here today. So you don't always let yourself down. Projecting worst case scenarios onto the task. Already thinking that a task you're going to move forward on and do is going to fail. Thinking about how hard or challenging or time consuming, right, or boring the task will be before you even start. These are some thought patterns. Can you see how some of these thought patterns will not serve you? Thinking about the bad ways you've been with money in the past. Judging others who have money. How many of you in the past have maybe judged others who have money? And here's the thing, anything that you don't think is a good thing or that you don't like in someone else, right? It'll be impossible for you to have that thing. Okay? Because subconsciously, unconsciously, your mind will feel that incongruency and not let you have it. Judging others who are always selling something or making offers. What's going to happen when you're asking for that promotion, when you're making an offer, when you're selling something? If you're judging others, what does that kind of relay back to you? What is that energy you're putting out there, right? Energy in, energy out. And judging others for having success. That's another big one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 here. So we have 9 here. Okay. 9 examples. How many of these thought patterns do you have out of 9? Just put a number as you go through these. How many of these thought patterns do you have out of 9? Seven, 3, 5, 6, 3. Yeah, thanks for sharing. And so here's what I want to point out to you, right? How is it possible that all of us have some level of some of these thought patterns? They're not your thoughts. You don't own them. If other people have them, right, they're not yours. So, question for you, which thoughts are keeping you stuck? So, what other thoughts outside of the ones that I just shared can you think of that keep you stuck in some capacity? So, if you were to think about the last time you felt stuck, you had a problem that you were dealing with, what were you thinking just before that problem? Is there an example I didn't give? Because I want you to become aware of your specific thought patterns. It's nice for me to share with you some that a lot of us have, right? But what are some of your specific thought patterns that you have? Put those in the chat. Take a moment there. Catherine, absolutely, we are absolutely human. That's why we have these. So Catherine says, I want to do it all. That holds me back. Thanks for sharing. So what are some other specific thought patterns in your life right now that you can think of now that may be holding you back? Impatience. I'm not good enough. Lack of experience. Making excuses, not enough time, or something gets in the way and I have so many things I want to accomplish. Taylor, decision paralysis. Feeling scared if I don't say yes to everything because I might miss an opportunity. I think things need to be perfect to start. Others can do it, but for some reason, not me. Wanting comfort over the challenge. Multitasking, lack of focus. Thank you all for sharing. These are really, really powerful ones. Appreciate your openness. This is important to start to notice what these thought patterns are. If we don't have that awareness, we can't begin to release them. Indulgence, do what I want to do. I don't have enough experience to really help. I don't know enough. I charge too much. People can't afford it. I can't get things done quickly. I learn slowly. So those are some of the thought patterns, right? Keep those in mind. If you want to copy and paste those on a sheet as you work through this with us today, they'll be handy to have. Okay. So the next one is your beliefs, right? As we go deeper beneath the surface, we have your beliefs in your unconscious mind. So the beliefs, like I mentioned earlier, right? 95% of the beliefs you have right now were programmed in your mind between the ages of 0 and 7 years old. Some people even go as far as saying that these beliefs were actually programmed even before you were born, right? If you think about it, right, we have energy flowing in our body, blood flowing in our body, hormones that flow in our body. So when a mom is pregnant, right, the baby is literally growing, surviving, living, right, from resources inside mama's belly. So is it possible then that just like all the other resources that are being fed to the baby in the belly, that the energy the mom has is being transferred in there as well? The thought energy, the belief energy, something to consider, right? And so again, 60% of these, right, beliefs may be limiting you or holding you back in some way, unless you've already done some of this deeper work. All right. So what are some of the belief systems that drive the thoughts? I'm going to share some with you. You'll let me know how many of these beliefs you have, and then I'll ask you which other beliefs might be keeping you stuck. Okay. So belief here is I'm not good with money. I'm not good with money. People will judge me if I have money. People will reject me or abandon me if I have money. They'll reject me if I'm too fit. If I get too much in shape, people will reject me. Money is the root of all evil. This person had money that I know, and they were miserable. The celebrity had money, and they were miserable. Therefore, I can't have money, or I'll be miserable too. I can either have money or this, not both. It's not safe to stand out. Where would that belief come from? For me personally, if I was bullied when I was younger, which I was, various times, various ways, and I felt that if I hid in a corner and no one knew who I existed and who I was, that I wouldn't get bullied, would that belief affect me now if I hadn't done this work? How would that affect me? I wouldn't be here talking to you right now, that's for sure. Right? I wouldn't put myself on social media. I wouldn't be going to networking opportunities and meeting new people and potential connections. These beliefs that we hold on to because of experience in our lives, we can choose. You have a choice to accept or reject them. However, if you have still any inkling of these beliefs, they will affect your choices and decisions and how you behave in the present. Are you guys seeing that? Is this making sense? But if this is making sense, put make sense in the chat, right? This is how important this is. I have to work hard to make money. Ooh, that's a big one. I have to work hard to make money. If I take self-care time, I'll be selfish. For me to have money, someone else has to make a sacrifice. So you just give away stuff for free or you discount your services. Why do I deserve it? Taking breaks or vacations is lazy. I'll be a bad entrepreneur, parent, spouse, if I blank. How many of these beliefs do you have? Take a moment here. Feel free to count them. Drop that number in the chat because it begins with awareness. $2.5. Sounds like you have some conflict there between the belief. Okay, thanks for sharing. So, which beliefs that you're aware of now are keeping you stuck? Outside of the ones that I put here, what beliefs came up for you? And they could be, I know I had a lot of money related examples. I think money is just something that we all really can understand even physically. And so if there are other beliefs in your life that are keeping you stuck, share those as well. What beliefs are keeping you stuck now? What's coming up for you? The more I make, the less safe I'll be. Whoa, safety. Success doesn't happen to people like me. It will be lonely at the top. If I'm too successful, people will abandon me. Other people can provide better value than me. You have to work 12 hours or more a day to make that amount of money. Yeah, this is real. Can you all see how some of these beliefs that you have that you're holding on to could limit you from accessing the future and the goals that you've set out for yourself? Totally. Right? Questioning why me? Why would people pay me for what I provide? Yeah. And so here's the thing. If you've taken the courses, the tactics, the programs, if you've done all these things in the past, even with this awareness and you're still not able to do it, can you see why there's something deeper here? Right? No other course, program, etc. thing that you do without addressing these things at a deeper unconscious level are going to work long-term for you. Or you'll feel lots of resistance and self-sabotage because this needs to be addressed first, right? So let's go a level deeper here. Your identity. The identities, again, right? Who we identify as, who we believe ourselves to be. Some of these identities are given to us, some we take on, and these can hold us back and cause those limiting beliefs and negative thoughts. So when we talk about identity, here are some examples. Okay. I'm lower middle class. How many of you have told yourself what class you are in? I'm lower middle class. Guess what? Lower middle class people have specific thought patterns, specific beliefs. And because of your thoughts, your beliefs, and who you think you are, guess what your life is? Lower middle class. All because you said, I am this. I'm broke or poor. I don't have any money. I'm a failure. I'm dumb. I'm not smart enough. I suck at tech. Tech doesn't like me. When I play with tech, it breaks all the time, right? I'm just a terrible salesperson. I suck at marketing. I'm a struggling artist. Isn't it funny how have you guys, do you guys know an artist in your life, right? And how it's always seems to be that the struggling artist is always struggling. What came first, right? I'm a perfectionist. That's the reason why I don't put anything out there or get anything done, because everything needs to be perfect. I'm a people pleaser. I take care of everyone else but myself. I'm a non-finisher. That's who I am. I start something and I just don't finish. I've always been that way. Here's my obstacle. You want to see it? Right? Carrying your obstacle around with you. So how many of these do you find yourself saying? How many of these have you said in the past? I think one for me for sure is I'm a people pleaser. I'm not smart enough. And I was broke, right? So I definitely had that one. So I had a few of these myself. 4, 5, 3, 3. Yeah, totally. Totally. So which identities that I did not mention there are keeping you stuck? Are there any other identities? Again, as you're putting these, the point is you want to become aware and pay attention to what I am statements you are saying. An I am statement is a label you've placed on yourself. I am ADD. And because I am ADD, I can't do XYZ. How many of you know people who have ADD who are doing XYZ? Interesting. So is that really the limit? Is that really the limitation? No, it's not. So what identities are keeping you stuck? What I am statements do you unconsciously or consciously find yourself saying to yourself that are holding you back? Amanda, that's a positive identity. I love that. I love that for you. So good. Yes, I am strong and have to help everyone. So, okay, so I see what you're saying. So I see the I am strong. I like that one, and I have to help everyone. That could be definitely an identity that if you have to help everyone can keep you stuck, right? Depending on how we see it. I am scatterbrained. Even me saying these out loud, I'm like, don't say it out loud. Don't put yourself in that box. I'm not an entrepreneur. I am unorganized, right? I'm forgetful. I have an autoimmune disease, so I can't overdo it. Not being good at certain tasks, not presenting something valuable enough. Yeah. And we're just scratching the surface here, right? I am unorganized. I am diagnosed with ADD. What was ADD before there was ADD? Did ADD exist before someone labeled it ADD? I don't even know. Does anyone know? I'm too old to be online and put myself out there. Yeah. Have you seen the grandma on TikTok? So cute. What's her name? Oh, I gotta find her. So funny. She's like 95 or almost 100 years old on TikTok, crushing it. She got millions of followers. Goals. Yeah. Hyperactive, rebellion. Okay. I'm a bad person. Thanks for sharing, y'all. Appreciate it. So these are some of the identities. Okay. Now, the next one here, going deeper, is the emotional baggage. So the question is, what is emotional baggage? Tanya, would you like to share?
Sure. Emotional baggage, unresolved emotions when your mind's caught in the past, maybe an overreaction to a situation. And what do we do mostly when baggage comes up in Western society? I'd love it if you could put it in the chat because this is a big one. We generally have this practice when the emotions come up for us and we don't necessarily want to look at them. Put it down, shame others, push it down. Yeah, we don't want to deal with it. We want to pretend it doesn't exist, like it's not there. So the bag's over our head. We're trying to look out at our outside world and we're trying to look through this black bag of crap, really. Like it's just in our face and we can't move forward. Head in the sand, push it deep down. Yeah, we don't want to look at it. We want to keep our head in the bag, right? And how far do we get with the bag over our head?
Not
People are
far.
sent to therapy and get a diagnosis and then they think they're unable to have a full life. Yeah. So emotional baggage. Let's just do a quick review here. So Javi said when we have emotional baggage, anger, sadness, fear, hurt, shame, guilt, anxiety. So from conception to 7 years old, our minds are the most suggestible. So it's like a sponge. Everything that's happening around us, the things said to you, things said around you, conversations, stories, TV, movies, maybe the radio for some of you that are old enough to listen to the radio instead of like Spotify or Pandora or iTunes. So all those things happening around us are suggestions to our unconscious mind. So to truly transform your life, you have to be fully aware of all of your emotions and your baggage. You have to actually look at them. You have to take the bag off of your head. You could have had the best parents on the planet, and your needs still might not have been met. The unconscious mind is so powerful. So in session 3, then we'll show you exactly how those emotions from your past might be trapped and causing you to not see clearly today, which is affecting your every move.
Every move. And so I want to add here, become very aware of this. If you'll notice when you watch movies or TV shows, I see it all the time now. When we say that you are being programmed by these different things, notice how most movies and TV shows, you'll find that the villain, the bad guy, is typically always a rich, wealthy, millionaire, billionaire who's out killing people or doing bad things for their own reasons. And you'll find that the hero, right, the person on the other side, typically is broke, has no money, right, is out there to change the world and help people. And what this does to us is subconsciously, even as kids, we're already being programmed that being rich and wealthy is a bad, negative thing, right? And so we hold on to these emotions and this baggage and don't even know why, right? If you, an example, I'll give you a clear example. So evil villains, which ones do we have? We've got Lex Luthor, evil billionaire, Green Goblin, evil billionaire. What are some other examples? There's several, right? And the ones who are actually good and wealthy, like Batman or Iron Man, we've got Batman, who maybe a little bit of a womanizer, right? And then we've got Iron Man, who's narcissistic. So even when they're the good guys, they give them evil or negative traits, subconsciously programming us that these people with all this money are these types of people. And so I don't want to be like them. Okay. So just like that, those beliefs are programmed in our mind for movies, right? There's a reason why it's called TV programming. It's not because the program's TV, it is because they're programming you. Penguin, Joker, 1000%, right? And so if movies have that impact, right? All these other conversations, stories that we're listening to, TV that we're watching, music, right? All these have the potential to affect how we think and what we believe. And if that can have an impact on us, right? Experiences in our actual life, right? We hold on to even more. This is where the emotional baggage comes from, right? And come into play as well. Okay. Yeah, totally.
To your point, Javi, I'd like to also point out the news.
Oh
So
my
there's
goodness,
been a lot
yes,
of
for
stuff
sure.
happening in the news. And I'm curious if anyone ever feels good when they watch the news, or what emotion does that bring out in us? So if
Mm.
you're consistently glued to your news, you know, you're checking out the news sites, watching the news, how are you feeling? What emotions are you programming into your bodies? Because all of that is getting absorbed by your unconscious mind, and then you feel those emotions long after you stop watching the news.
Totally.
So we have baggage in different areas of our lives, 6 different categories: career, family, relationships, personal growth, physical health, and spirituality. And this is a really good way to identify, well, get it cornered into specific areas, but you might have baggage in, let's say, career. I had baggage in career. And when I got rid of that baggage, it affected all areas of my life. But I just started in career. So you might think that you have, oh man, you know, I have family stuff from when I was a kid. Okay, I wonder where else that is affecting you. But it's a good place to start when you start looking at the categories.
Yeah. So basically what we know, right, is that baggage, like Tanya said, in one area of life can create imbalance in others. When one spoke of the wheel is broken, the journey becomes bumpy, right? A lot of people say, "Oh no, I don't take my work home with me." BS, right? Total BS, right? We always take our work home with us because that energy that we bring there, unless you know how to clear it, right, and release it and really be intentional about that, you start talking about work at home, right, with your family, significant others, it transfers over. So each area of your life, right, you've got different baggage associated with it. And it's important to be aware of that because to achieve career or financial goals and do it again consistently, other areas, health, relationships, mindset must also be addressed over time, right? And so the studies show that 75% of high performing professionals experience burnout due to imbalance. Okay. And these are high performing professionals, right? Imagine those who are not necessarily high performing professionals. They're even more burnt out, right? And they don't know why. And so we want to make sure that we look at our life ecologically and look at, okay, it's not all about career and business. There are other facets of our life. And what's the stuff that comes up for us there? Because one can affect the other. Okay. So the question then becomes, how do we create lasting transformation? Right? How many of you would like to learn how do we actually create lasting transformation? Because I always thought it was this thing you constantly had to work on and work hard on, and like, I gotta meditate, I gotta think positive, I gotta do affirmations, I gotta manifest, I gotta gratitude journal. Oh my God, I'm getting so this is a lot of work just to stay positive, right? It's like you have a full-time job trying to do all these things to live a better life. It's like, does it have to be this much work? Right? The answer is it does not. It really does not. And so you've probably tried, right, following endless how-to guides, strategies that overcomplicate things, investing in courses and programs that didn't deliver lasting results. And I've done that too. And I then realized, right, even in moments where I was like, it was because of this person, X, Y, and Z. I'm like, no, it was actually because stuff was going on with me, right? Attending motivational seminars that left you inspired but not transformed, hustling harder, thinking that working more will solve the problem, relying on surface level tactics that fail to address the deeper root causes, ignoring the imbalance in other areas of your life, hoping it won't impact your success, and pushing through with sheer willpower only to burn out and feel stuck again. And we'll talk about willpower in session 2. Okay. So again, traditional methods focus on isolated aspects of mindset and mental health, often treating the symptoms rather than the root causes that are found in the unconscious mind. And here's what you need to know. All learning, all behavior, and all change is actually unconscious. Okay? Now, I agree with you. As you learn something, it is a conscious process, right? As you learn it. However, once you learn it, where does it go? If I told all of you right now to tell me your phone number, right? Just a few seconds ago, you weren't thinking of it consciously. Otherwise, you'd have it in the front of your mind this entire time, right? But all of you can recite your phone number to me and put it in the chat right now. You don't have to, but I'm just saying you could, right? And so we learn something, then it goes into our unconscious and we can recite it back. Okay. So learning is at the unconscious level. Behavior is also unconscious. Who here, okay, this is something I got to work through. So Tanya, maybe you can help me with this. I still kind of bite my nails, but here's the thing. I bite my nails because I want them done and then I file them. It's just faster for me than finding a nail filer. I know it's a terrible reason, but anyway, I do bite my nails and sometimes it's unconscious, right? How many of you like twirl your hair, right? You have a behavior. How many of you have a behavior that you once started and you didn't realize you were doing it until you were already doing it, right? Like, have you ever started biting your nails, twirling your hair, and then realized you were doing it already? Picking my hangnails, right? Anyone else you don't have to mention the behavior, but have you guys noticed that you'll like do something and not even realize it, right? Why is that? You learned to do something outside of your conscious awareness. Now, if you could apply that to something positive, imagine all the things that you could do. Okay. So really, when we're talking about behavior, behavior is not a bad thing. Okay. It's just a behavior. A behavior in one area of your life might be super useful in another area of your life. It might not. It depends on the individual, and yet all behavior is unconscious. Okay. So for example, obsessive compulsive disorder, having OCD, right? Can that affect you? Can those behaviors affect you in one area of your life? Absolutely. However, what if you could take that same behavior and put it into another area of your life, a different context, where you became so passionate, so obsessed about getting things done right and getting things done in general that you were able to accomplish anything you wanted, right? So behaviors are not just good or bad, they just are. And so we want to learn how to apply them in the right context. So when you start a behavior, it may be very conscious, right? How many of you remember learning how to drive? Does anyone here learn how to drive stick shift? So the first few cars I had were actually stick shift. Put a yes in the chat if you've driven stick shift before, right? And so even if it wasn't stick shift, right? Just the first time you learned how to drive. How many of you, when you were learning how to drive, if you go back to that time now, you remember you were learning how to drive and the person next to you turns the radio on and you're like, shh, turn that down. I'm driving here. Right? It's like you can't drive and listen to the radio at the same time. Now, for all of you who've been driving for a while now, how silly does that sound? It's like, of course, right? I can listen to the radio and drive because you're now unconscious, right? You can unconsciously have that behavior. How many of you have driven on the highway, right? Going from point A to point B, and you get home or you get to your destination and you don't even know how you got there. You're like, whoa, I'm home. I don't even remember the drive here. Why is that? You have now this unconscious competence. Unconsciously, the behaviors are installed in your unconscious. You knew how to get home without even thinking about it. Now, is that safe? Probably not, right? But we all do it. We all do it. So your unconscious is in charge of the behavior. And then finally, change, right? Change is unconscious as well. And we'll talk more about that in the next few sessions, okay? So some traditional methods, talk therapy, right? I I've done talk therapy, very useful. It was really helpful to get things out. One thing that I didn't always resonate with was like constantly talking about my problems. Because I was like, if I just keep talking about my problems, I feel like I'm just more invested in my problems. Like, where's the solution? What do I do with this? Right. And so many times everything has a time and place for it. Many times it focuses on exploring the past. Progress can be slow with little focus on actionable change or future oriented solutions. That's what I found, at least. Right. Self-help books could be generic advice, may not resonate or address unique challenges, leading to a lack of implementation. Right. I've got lots of books here, right, that I love to read. I'll be honest, some of them I've taken direct action on. Many of these books I've read, and it was a great read. I love my time to myself in my head reading a book I did nothing with, right? So self-help books. Motivational seminars provides a temporary energy boost, but fails to create lasting transformation, leaving attendees back where they started. I went to Unleash the Power Within back in 2017 with Tony Robbins. Amazing event. This is actually what introduced me the first time ever to these concepts of NLP, because he was one of the early people in the space, and it was amazing, right? I will say though that he doesn't go as deep as we're going now. And it was very fun. I felt so motivated, like I could run through a brick wall. Heck, I walked on fire, right? I don't know if you guys know Tony Robbins. He has this whole fire walk thing where you walk on hot burning coal, right? And you do like a priming and meditation beforehand to make sure you're good. I did that, right? No shoes. Okay. I felt like I could run through a brick wall. I felt amazing for about a week, right? Because they mainly focus on state, which we'll talk about in session 2. So great to give you that motivation and that momentum boost, but is it lasting? No. Okay. Meditation apps treat symptoms of stress, but doesn't address deeper subconscious beliefs or root causes. Okay. Positive thinking techniques encourages surface level positivity with affirmations without rewiring deeper limiting beliefs. Positive thinking and affirmations, great. Once you've released all the baggage, once you've aligned yourself, because your unconscious mind, if you say, I'm a millionaire, and you know that you don't have $1 million in your bank account, your unconscious mind knows you're lying, right? and so what happens is it causes more resistance. Okay. Now, you saying these things and thinking positively, yes, it's important, right? But if there's that deep-rooted emotional baggage that's keeping us fogged up, right, and holding us back, it's not going to do much. Life coaching without reprogramming. So life coaching is more external actions without addressing internal blocks, leading to limited or temporary results. Hustle culture, we know, leads to burnout, imbalance, and frustration. And then gratitude journaling shifts perspectives, but doesn't allow or solve root problems or provide clear strategies to overcome obstacles. I was a very big proponent, still am, of gratitude journaling in general, because I feel like it kind of allows you to get your thoughts out on paper, and it does feel like it clears the space, right? But I've noticed that every single time I journal, a lot more stuff keeps coming out. And it's typically a lot of the same stuff that keeps coming out. So I feel good when I do it for a few days. And then it's like, okay, like this stuff keeps, like, I just keep writing the same things over and over. Why does it keep coming and showing up for me? Right? Because it's, again, surface level. The thoughts are repetitive, right? So unless we rewire those, the same thoughts are going to be journaled for the rest of your life, right? This is powerful. I've always wondered why I have trouble with positive thinking and gratitude journaling. Yeah, I think we all intuitively know that, right? When we start doing it, it's like, okay, it feels good, but it's really hard to keep up with, because I think we subconsciously know that there's something deeper going on, right? And so again, they don't work, often treat symptoms rather than root causes that are found in the unconscious mind. So again, how do we create lasting transformation? Well, I want to share with you, and I'll share, we'll go deeper on this because we're going to go for a break in just a few minutes here and go through a breakout session with an activity for you all here, so you can get more awareness of the areas of your life that you need to work on. So the rapid alignment method, okay, it's a 3-step process. And so we're going to talk more about this in session 4 and 5. And so the first thing we want to do is release, okay? When you free yourself from fear, when you free yourself from self-doubt, when you free yourself from anything that's holding you back, and you let go of the emotional baggage to create space for clarity and growth, amazing things can happen, right? It's like cleaning the lens on foggy glasses. You can see clearly now. Okay, so that's the first step. Then you have to focus on alignment. Once you've released all of that, you have to align your goals with yourself and your mindset, with your conscious mind and your unconscious mind, and align that with your desired outcomes, right? To ensure that your actions reflect your deepest core values. If your actions are not aligned with your core values, you won't move forward. Okay, you'll feel incongruent, there'll be conflict, and eventually you'll slow down and stop. So alignment is very important. And then move. Okay, you've got to take intentional aligned steps that build momentum and lead to tangible results. You can have the release, you can feel completely aligned, but if you sit down on your couch all day eating Cheetos, how many of you know nothing's going to happen? Right? I will say this though, when you have the release, when you feel aligned, how much easier is it to take action in the direction of your dreams when you let go of all this stuff, right? Way easier. And so all of this really, as I think about it, right, is about becoming a confident leader. Now, most people think of a leader as someone who like leads an organization or leads people. I want you to really look at this differently. And I want you to think about becoming a leader for yourself. How do you lead you every single day? How do you lead your children and inspire them by being a model of excellence? How do you lead your family? How many of you see people in your life, like all of you here? I know one thing about every single one of you here. You're here because you want better for you. You want to be able to be better for others, right? And there are people in your family right now that you're thinking, man, like if they only like knew what I knew, if they only understood what I'm doing here, right? I'd love for them to be able to see the other side so they can be inspired as well. The best way to inspire others to change their life is by first changing yours and being a leader in your own life, right? A leader of your family, your friends, and your community. Okay. When you do that, people in your life will start to follow. And it's, it's never guaranteed. Okay. You'll have a higher chance of that though. So it's about becoming a confident leader in your life. Okay. So the rapid alignment method, it works holistically, rewiring unconscious beliefs, creating alignment across life areas, your values and your identity, releasing emotional baggage, and providing actionable strategies for sustained success. Key word here is rapid. The experiences that we've been through after 2.5 years of therapy, I literally had a complete transformation in less than 8 hours. Literally less than a day. Okay. That's how quickly change can actually happen. And we'll discuss more because some of you might be like, nah, I don't know about that. That sounds too fast. That's crazy. I can't possibly let go of all this stuff that quickly. We'll show you how. Okay. So again, how do we create lasting transformation? Here's the reality. Okay. The reality is that you do need to believe in order for it to work. You have to believe that you can do it. These are 3 core beliefs you must have. Belief number 1 is I can change. I can change. Belief number 2 is I must change. You have to have a desire to change. Otherwise, you're not going to do it. Right? And the third one is I will change. I'm going to make this happen. These are the beliefs that are required for you to actually experience change and transformation in your life. The question then becomes, do you have the courage to do it? Do you have the courage to make that change? If you have the courage, put I have the courage in the chat. Because some people say they want something, right? And when the time comes, they want to hold on to their baggage. It's like, oh, but I've had this for so long. I've carried it with me so for so many years. I share my baggage with all of my friends, and they want to hear about it, right? And so we have to let go of a lot of that if we want to move forward in our life. Yes? So you must have the courage to do it. Okay? Now, we're going to dive into session 1's action task. Have you guys gotten value so far from today? If you've gotten value so far, put value in the chat. Okay, put value in the chat. So I know you guys are still getting it. Okay, perfect. Excellent. I love to hear that. So we're going to dive into session one's action task. Okay. This action task is going to go over your wheel of life. So we have an assessment for you all. Very easy questions to answer. I'm actually going to give you a link. That link is going to take you through a quiz, and it's going to give you your score. Pretty cool, right? And so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to explain the exercise, and then we'll go into it. So your wheel of life, you have this wheel of life for the purposes of today. Yes, there may be other areas of your life, and you might separate these differently. For the purpose of today, we're going to break these down into career, family, and by the way, career, if you're in business, career could be business too. Okay, career, business, family, relationships. Typically, relationships, we're looking at a relationship like with your significant other or like more intimate relationships. If you prefer to substitute friends for that one, that's fine too. Personal growth. So personal growth and development, physical health and fitness, and spirituality. Okay, we have these wheels. The number one is going to mean that you feel extremely unsatisfied or disconnected in this area. Significant improvement is needed, and this aspect of your life is not meeting your needs or expectations. Okay. The second one, number 10, so the number 10 is you feel completely satisfied and fulfilled in this area. Everything is aligned and you are thriving with no need for further improvement at this time. Okay. So those are the two. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to share with you the wheel of life. I'm going to show you in a second what this looks like. And these are going to be the next steps. Okay. So you're going to take action now. And what this is going to look like is you're going to rate yourself in key areas of your life. You're going to identify where the imbalance exists. You're going to reflect on how these imbalances are affecting your goals. And you're going to discuss how this area is having an effect in the other areas of your life. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually share with you this wheel of life exercise here first. And then once we have most people completing it, so about 5 minutes, we're going to go into breakout rooms and we're going to start sharing. So it'll be a 4-minute exercise. You'll write down your answers and reflect. Person 1 is going to share for 2 minutes. Person 2 is going to share for another 2 minutes. Person 1, the first person to share, is going to be the person's first name who's closest to the letter A. Okay, cool. Now, for those of you that can't go into breakout rooms right now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to automatically have the system. I'm going to automatically have the system put you in breakout rooms. If you could let me know actually now who is not able to go into a breakout room because you're at work, that's fine. Just let me know. That way I know to not place you with anyone. You can just drop it in the chat. So Taylor's not able. Drew's not able to. I'm at the office today. Okay, cool. So I'm going to put you in breakout rooms. I might have to do a bit of reorganizing and then we'll get into it. Now, if you are really not able to, okay, I understand. If you are not able to because you are scared or fearful of connecting with others, then I advise you that the process of letting go of emotional baggage, negative thoughts or beliefs about yourself begins now. And so if it was for any other reason outside of that, then and because you have the courage to be here today and to change your life, then I would advise you to potentially change your mind and go into a breakout session. Okay. So with that said, driving's a good reason not to. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and drop in. So Kaylee dropped in the wheel of life exercise. Let's go ahead and click that link now. And all of you will complete that exercise. So when you click that link, it's going to take you to a page. It's going to say, take the quiz. Okay. You'll click on that link to take the quiz. When you go through that link, it's going to have you put your information in there. And then you'll start taking the quiz. Okay. So we'll do that now. And then we'll go into breakout rooms to share and we'll come back. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put 5 minutes on the clock to take that quiz. And then we'll go into breakout rooms.